What's up, guys? Jason Guyman here, and tonight we're going to talk all about roof safety because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make because if you fall off the roof, it's going to hurt and it's not going to be good for you. And so tonight we're going to talk about how to be safe on the roof when we are installing Christmas lights. And we're also going to talk about, I put this on pressure washing because it is when you're up here doing roof cleanings and different things, we need to make sure that we stay safe up on roofs. We're going to talk all about different types of roofs, ways to make sure that we stay safe on roofs. And so that is what I want to hit on tonight because I've had my close calls before, and I want you to learn from my mistakes. And luckily I didn't get hurt, but I have had some close calls before. And so I will talk about that. We'll talk about different ways to stay safe up on roofs, how to use a bunch of different tools, and to make sure that you keep your employees safe and how to keep you safe. Because in the end, that is the most important part. It doesn't matter if you make $20,000 or $100,000. If you fall off a roof, it does you no good at the end of the day. And so that is what we are going to hit on tonight. I know that safety is very important to me. It is one of those things that I want to make sure that no one falls off of a roof this year. And I know that it can happen in a blink of an eye. I know I was listening to Michael Connor put a post on his that he saw a guy fall right in front of his face, and that was not a good thing to do. And so that is why I want to make sure, if nothing else, that it is the forefront of your head. So that way you're thinking when you're doing something possibly stupid that you think, oh, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this, right? Maybe I need to find out a better way to make sure that we are staying safe up on these roofs. Because again, it doesn't matter if you're doing a $3,000 roof hanging lights on a roof, or a $3,000 window or a roof clean. If you fall off a roof, it's going to cost you way more in the end. And that is why I want to make sure that you are staying safe. I'm trying to find a photo of a job where I was scared or where I almost fell off, but I don't find it here. So I will have to use this one instead. So that is my goal for you tonight, is to make sure that you stay safe. And like I say, we are going to, I've got different things here for you to do this. So the book of the week, I know I haven't done the book in the week in a while, but I do like the book of the week. And this week's book of the week is a great book about growing your business. If you want to grow your business, if you want to get more time back, it's not about just growing the business. It's about how do we get more time back. That is what I'm talking about. And that is why I like this book here by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. It is a great book. I highly recommend this book. If you have not read this book, you should read this book. It's a great book. It's a book that will help you buy back your time. It will help you get more time to do what you want to do. And so that is the goal. And so if you're just joining in, please, if you could like the video, give me some comments. And here's the thing. If you've got questions, please ask the questions so that way we can answer your questions so you can help you grow and be more successful. We got good evening from ARH Soft Wash and Service in Georgia. What's going on, Superior Soft Wash? So the first story, so the very first thing is it's all about how are we being sure that we're staying safe up on a roof. You know, one of the big causes is people getting on a roof. That is probably one of the most places where people will get hurt the most. And so we need to make sure that it is important that we understand how to get on a roof and how to get off of a roof, right? There's some common things, you know, there's slippery surfaces. It might have moss. It might have whatever it might have. These are things that we have to remember about when we are getting up on these roofs and that. how steep is the pitch, right? Sometimes we might not think that pitch is too steep, and it actually might be too steep for what we are trying to do. And so that's another thing. The weather changes. If you get there early in the morning and it has frost on there, and so that frost is slippery, and so that's another place that we have to be careful when we're up here on these roofs. These roofs are very dangerous. I promise you, you can fall off of it, and it is not something that you want to do. And so the one that I'm trying to find a photo here of when I about fell off of a roof. And so that way I can actually show you the photo that I about fell off of the roof on. Because it is one of those things that if you are not staying safe, it is not worth, like I said, it is not worth falling off of these roofs because, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? You can fall through the roof. You can slip and maybe the shingles underneath of you slide out from underneath of you and you fall off that way. And so there's lots of different ways that you can be up there. You could have the wrong shoes on and then they're not good enough for you to stick to the roof, and that's another problem. And so these are all issues that we have to be careful on when we're dealing with the roofs. And so when I'm trying to find this freaking roof and I can't find it one. But I do have this other one where I got a great story on it for you all while I get started here. So on this roof here, I know it's not very steep. I know that now. But when I started my Christmas light business and my pressure washing business, I personally didn't like roofs. I hated roofs. And so I was actually up on this roof here, right up here at the peak, on the other peak over here. Let's see if I can point it out. Right in this peak here. And I actually had this was before the goat came out. And so I actually had a ladder up there with the hooks on it. And so it took a 40-foot ladder to get to here. And then I put that hook ladder here. And while I was up on this peak up here, it started pouring down rain. It was freezing cold. I'm hanging on to the ladder for dear life. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I thought that's what was going to happen. And so I didn't die, obviously, but it was one of those things that I still remember in my head of like, what am I doing up here? And so I just want you to think about this as we are going around and doing these houses. The other house I was actually pressure washing it, and it was a cedar roof and it wasn't even that steep. And so I was trying different chemicals. And so I didn't really want to use bleach on it because I was afraid that it would dry out the roof. And so I didn't use bleach on it. And so what I used was, I used F13. Which is sodium. What is it? Can't even think what it's called now. My brain just died. But when I went to step on that stuff, it was so slick that I slipped and fell. And luckily, as I'm sliding down this wood shingle roof, I get to the part where the valley is, and I hadn't sprayed that part, and so I catch myself over there before I fall off the roof. And so you got to be careful when we are up here on these roofs. I know a lot of times we think, oh, we can just get up there and go do it. But in the end, there is times that you have to be careful because all it takes is a quick second and you will slip off these roofs. I was on another roof that I had the wrong shoes on, and I tried to climb it. Next thing I know, I'm on my butt and I'm sliding down. So I've had 2 close calls on roofs. Now, the one picture I just showed you, I was okay. I was scared, but it wasn't like I was going to die. The other 2, I thought I was going to, one, fall off of a roof that I was 2 stories up, and the other one was only 1 story up. And so I know people that have fallen off of roofs. I went to made runs on people that have fallen off on roofs, and it's generally not a good outcome. Generally speaking, you're going to break something or you're going to wish you had broke something, right? And so that is why it is important that we understand. I know Skeets just talked about, I've seen it in one of the pictures he posted in one of the other groups, that he broke both legs. I think it was 2 years ago. And so those are things of falling off of the roof and having roof safety. It is super, super important. Again, it doesn't matter if you're pressure washing and you're doing roof cleaning or if you're doing Christmas lights. I want you to make sure that you understand that you have to stay safe out there, because it is important that we keep sure that we do this. And so one of the things that we need to do is make safety a mindset first. I know a lot of times we're like, oh, I just need just another inch, or I just need another, right? And we need to have safety as a mindset shift, right? We need to have a mindset shift that safety is the key to staying safe up there. Now, there is some different tools that we can use. And so the first one that came out that I remember that came out is called the, you have the goat right here. So this is the goat. It hooks over the roof. You can climb up the rungs. You can climb up the handholds. You can hang on to it. And so again, this is just a tool. It is not nothing that is, I mean, it may keep you from falling off of the roof, but again, it is just a tool. You got to remember that when you're on a roof, you should be tied off. You should be with a harness. And so those are things that you need to keep in your mind so that you can see. But this is the goat. It hangs over goes over the roof. And that is what the goat is right here. And so you can use this to keep you. This was one of the first tools that I remember come out that was all about the safety side of things. And so that is why I like the goat. The goat works amazing, and so it is awesome, and it definitely works great. And so I would highly, highly recommend the goat. The goat is one tool that I love. If you're going to go buy it, you can go to thegoatassist.com, which is the cheapest place to buy it. I know you can buy it other places. Yes, I got a link for it, but you'll save hundreds of dollars by going to thegoatassist.com and getting the Goat Assist. Again, these tools that I'm showing you, they are not OSHA approved, as in a way to keep, that's just a tool. The best way is to make sure that you are anchored off with an anchor, so that with a harness and all of that type of stuff, that's the only way that's going to keep you the safest is with a harness. And so if you don't have a harness, this is the thing that you should. But I do know that it takes time, but in all honesty, this is the harness, right? You need a harness. I don't know why it's doing the double screen. I don't want the double screen, but you can see that the harness here is what you want here for the harness. So I like the harness. It is the best. It is a good tool to have. Again, they're not comfortable. This one is definitely not a comfortable harness, but it is a harness. You can use the lanyards over here on this side. The lanyards work really good, but you got to remember that if you get more than about a 30-footer, this thing weighs a ton. I mean, a ton. So I do like this tool, but again, it does weigh a lot here. Let me see here, because I'm going to see if I can go up here. Then you can tie it to the Ridge Pro. The Ridge Pro works good, but the only way that this is technically an anchor is if you put the 4 bolts into the roof. And so otherwise, this is not an anchor. I know people that use it as an anchor, but technically without the bolts in it, it is technically not an anchor. Now, you put the 4 bolts in it, then it is an OSHA approved anchor. And so again, you do have to put the bolts in, but it is one of those things that, again, you have to put the bolts in to make this thing work the way you want. We just talked about the goat, and then you got the pitch hopper. I do like the pitch hoppers. The pitch hoppers are great. You can see that you can put your knee on it. But one thing you don't want to do right here is either you're all on this thing or you're all off of it. You don't put 50-50 weight across here, because what'll happen is you'll put too much weight here on the corner of it and it will kick it out and it'll slide down the roof. So you're either all your weight on it or you're not all your weight on it. But you can see pitch hoppers work awesome. They work great. And so that is definitely something that I would highly recommend you to do is get a pitch hopper. They're about $110 a piece. And so they work great. And then the next one is Cougar Paws. You need a good shoe. And so Cougar Paws work great. But I've also got a couple other options. They're about $200 a piece. Cougar Paws are. They got a foam padding right here, and so they work great. Now I'm going to show you a shoe that actually sticks better than Cougar Paws. These here are the Fila's. The Fila's, I know they're white because it's the only side they could get in the big and 15s. But you need a good. These here will actually grip better on a roof than the Cougar Paws. We've tried it. We've done tests on it. I'm going to do some more tests on it. But this shoe here will actually grip stronger than the Cougar Paws will. So I know that's crazy, but if you look at it, you got a lot of surface area for that shingle to be able to get on there. And then the other one is the Hey Dudes. I haven't tried the Hey Dudes out. I am going to actually try them out this week because I have a roof prop. But these here feel slick, so I don't know how well these are going to work, but I've been told these work really good to keep on a roof. I've got them. I'm going to try them out. I'll have some videos on if they work or not. But these are different tools that you need to keep you safe at the end of the day, right? Because the last thing you want to do is fall off a roof. I promise you it's going to hurt. You're going to regret it. And so this is some things to remember, how each of these tools are just a safety device. They're not OSHA approved, anything that I said or what I've got there. So the GOAT is a great thing to use. You can use it up to 20 feet. You can get the other ones. They work awesome. I promise you they work really good. I love the GOAT. I love the GOAT. The GOAT is one of my favorite tools because it's a great tool at the end of the day. So you have to remember that, again, these are only tools. One thing I'll tell you is if you're afraid to get up on a roof, don't get up on a roof. It will be dangerous on you, right? And so if you do get up on a roof, you want to make sure that you're tied off, that you have the proper equipment, you have the proper tools, so that way you can make sure that you're staying safe. The other thing is plan your movements, right? Know where you want to go. And before you get on a roof, look at it and inspect that roof. Because if those shingles are losing their granules and they're all gone, don't even get up on that roof, because that's a sign that that roof is not stable at that point. And so you got to make sure that you understand where you're going with it. You know, I always tell my guys to have a fall plan, right? If you start sliding, what do you need to do? Can you get to that exhaust pipe? Can you get to the valley? Can you get to the ridge to maybe hang on a little bit better? So those are different things that you got to look at, and you got to make sure that you understand that it is a good place to get up on. You know, the last thing you want to do, and I've got a couple of instances of people falling off of roofs and they pass away, right? Because that is not a good thing to do. And so I hope that it doesn't get me banned, but I want to show you something here so that way you understand how important it is for falling off of roofs, right? Because I don't want you to fall off a roof. I promise you, I don't want to hear that coming out of somebody that I know has fallen off a roof. And I know there's people that have, but you can see that he was standing on the roof and it collapsed. A man died in Texas after he fell from a roof. He was hanging Christmas lights with his son to earn extra money. He was hanging lights on a roof of a house with a 17-year-old son. The wife was in the front, and she heard he was lying on the concrete saying, "Help me, help me, help me." He had a CAT scan. The CAT scan came back with a a skull fracture, a bleeding in the brain, and he had a chest fracture, and he had to drain the blood from the chest. They rushed him to the ER emergency surgery, but he did not make it. And so this is something that you have to remember, that you guys need to make sure that you're staying safe. Don't do sketchy stuff. And so I know this isn't a fun talk. I know it isn't a fun talk about growing your business, but it is, because if you fall off a roof, you're going to have lots of medical bills. If you're still alive, you're going to have your business. If it's just a one-man show, you're pretty much done. I had a guy that it was him and his wife, and he was up on a ladder, and it was just a 6-foot ladder up on a deck. It was either 6 or 8-foot ladder up on a deck, and he was it slipped out from him underneath of him, and he fell and broke his back. He left his cell phone in the truck, and he was yelling for help because he couldn't get up, yelling for help, and nobody was helping him. So he had to end up crawling down the deck, down the steps, out through the yard to his truck to get able to call 911 with a broken back. And so these are things that can happen to you in a blink of an eye. This guy had been doing ladders for years and years and years, and it slipped out from underneath of him, and that is what happened to him. And so this is why you have to be safe, whether we're talking about ladders, whether we're talking about whatever we're talking about for this here. So I'll show you a video of another guy that was getting onto the ladder. He was up on a roof. He was getting onto the ladder, and this is what happened here. And so this is why we have to be careful. We have to stay safe, and this is why we got to be careful, right? Because luckily he didn't get hurt. Luckily he just got a hurt attitude. But again, you got to make sure that you are staying safe. It happens. This guy here has been in business since 2015. He does $1.5 million on pressure washing. I talk about him all the time on different things of how well he is. But that day right there could have been his last day. And so that's what I'm talking about. You got to make sure that you're staying safe. He had 2 other employees on that job, and not one of them, he had not trained them to make sure that they were footing the ladder. And so if you have employees, you need to make sure that they are trained on the goat, how to use the goat, how to use it properly, how to use the pitch hopper, and sign them off that you showed them how to use it. Sign them off that, hey, you need to put a harness on before you go up on this roof. You need to do this, this, and this before you get up on there. And here's the thing. You cannot be doing things that you don't. If you're trying to teach your employees to do something and you're doing without doing what you're trying to teach, they're not going to do it either. And so as Michael Connor said, he had wrote that he had watched his guy fall right in front of his face, his eyes coming down as he fell and hit the ground. And so you got to make sure that we are staying safe up on these ladders, up on these roofs, because it is not worth it. After I sold my business, I had an employee. One of my old employees was there, and it was frosted roof. He climbed up the roof, and what happened is he got up there and he slipped off, and the only thing kept him from falling, hitting the ground was his pant leg caught the gutter, and he only weighed about 100 pounds. And so these are things that you got to remember. I've had all of these instances happen to me, and I want to make sure that you stay safe and it doesn't happen to you, because the last thing you got to do is if you fall off of a roof, it will be the worst thing. If your employee falls off the roof, it is going to be a terrible thing. So don't do sketchy stuff. If you need to, rent a lift. If you need to, find out another way to do it. And so these are things to make sure that you are staying safe when we are putting up these Christmas lights, when we're doing roof cleanings, when we're doing gutter cleanouts. I know a lot of you love to get up on gutter cleanouts and walk the roofs and blow them out. Again, all it takes is one shingle to come undone, and you fall and you hit the ground. And so there's a lot of features that you got to be careful when we're doing this. Tying off is something that I know that a lot of people don't like to do, but it can definitely save your life. And so this is the importance of why we need to think before we do stupid stuff. Again, we need to do a mindset shift and not do stupid stuff. I know we love to do stupid stuff, and I've done my share of stupid stuff. I would lie and say I have not done my share of stupid stuff. I promise you, I have done my share of stupid stuff. And I'm lucky that I'm still here, that it didn't hurt me beforehand. But I want to make sure that you guys stay safe out there so you don't get hurt, because the last thing you want to do is get hurt, get injured, get fall off of a roof, it is definitely something that you got to remember. Again, have an emergency plan. What happens if you do fall off a roof? What happens if you are in a harness? Do you have an emergency of getting you down? Because, if you fall off and you're in a harness, you know that you're probably, and you don't have a rescue plan, you can die from that, because what can happen is that harness is going to go and suck in your legs, and it's going to block off all the blood there. And then when they do let you down, that bad blood that hasn't been circulating is going to go up into your body, and it will kill you that way. And so you got to make sure that you have the proper emergency plan. This is why you need to have two guys on the job. So that way, if something happens to one, you can get emergency help coming quickly. And so these are things that you need to think about. These are things that, as you are thinking about it, it is why you need to do it, right? Because a lot of times we don't think about it. We're just like, we put on our cougar paws and go up there and we do this all the time, right? And so we got this attitude and we got this false belief that we're Superman. And so Superman isn't going to fly very good when you're falling off that roof. So I just want to make sure that you are thinking about this, that it is top of mind. Again, it is very, very important that you understand to stay safe. I don't want anybody to have to call. And I know I've seen there's people that are in this call right now that have dealt with someone falling off of a roof, and it's not a good thing. It's lucky, they were lucky that they didn't pass. And so you got to be careful when we're up on these roofs. You got to think about it when you're up on these ladders. You got to, make sure you look up before you set up, make sure you're on the right angle, make sure you have ladder stabilizers. I know I'm not talking about ladders, but I'm just talking about safety in general. When we're talking about chemicals, I got a thing on here about chemicals where the pump-up sprayer explodes and feels like a grenade. And so these are things that you have to think about when we're dealing with safety, not just roof safety, but ladder safety. When you're dealing with other things like, here's another one. I'll show you another one that's not good, but a water-fed pole and how dangerous a water-fed pole can be. And so you can see here that a window cleaner lost his forearm after he was hit by 33,000 volts electric shock, which blasted him out of his shoes. Again, you got to be careful out there, because the last thing you want to do is get hurt. He was in the hospital. He was airlifted. It kind of talks about what happened. Luckily, nobody was there with him. The homeowner come out and saw him. And so these are things that you have to think about as we are being careful. A lot of times we just think, oh, it's just a pole. It's just whatever, but it's dangerous, right? In a water-fed pole, he was just cleaning exterior windows. You might be just putting up lights in a tree, and you get close to that power line that's 19,000 volts, and it kills you like that. And so these are things that I want you to think about as we are doing Christmas lights, as we're doing pressure washing, as we are staying safe. Because, again, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you die, right? You can make millions and millions of dollars, and if you die, it means nothing. So just get into a safety mindset. Don't get into a rush mindset of, oh my God, we got to get done. We're doing this and you guys are taking too long. If it's your employees and they're staying safe, I'd rather them take all day than get done half the time and fall off the roof, because it's going to be way worse on you at the end of it. And so don't be pressuring your guys. If you need them to get up on the roofs and you're doing it safely, then when you hire them, put them up on there, put the ladder up and say, here we go. We're going to go up this ladder. Here's your harness. Here's how you do it. Because I can show you another picture here of this, of a class, of a guy in my last class. And as he was getting close to the top of the roof, he was shaking like a leaf in a tree, right? He was just a shaking. And so, he's trying to get over that fear, but you got to be careful. There's a reason why you have a fear of of this, right? Because if you're afraid of it, this is the whole point of making sure that you are staying safe and you're not doing nothing stupid. Because, like I said, the last thing you want to do is fall off a roof, right? And so you want to make sure that you are staying safe and you are making sure that you're doing the things right. So I'll show you this short clip here of him shaking me.
All right, that's good.
He's
You only got to
trying
turn
to
it
hang
about
on
3
with
times.
a dear life. He's got his fingers holding
When
on
I
to
first
wrapped
started out,
in
I was
there.
the same
And
way.
so these
I
are
can't
things
say
that you
nothing.
got to think about as we are staying safe. Because again, it doesn't matter how much you make. If you fall off a ladder, if you fall off a roof, it does you no good at the end of the day. So with that, what's your all's questions? Hey there, big guy from Franklin County, Virginia. How are you doing, sir? Bearded Soft Wash in the house. Greetings from Grace Roof Cleaning, Seattle, Washington. Dummy Me did a job where my ladder barely made it to the gutter. I actually helped get a guy off of a roof at the firehouse. The ladder was standing straight up like this. The gutter was right here. He climbed up. It was 3 stories. We had to get our aerial truck to get him back down, but luckily he called us instead of trying to do it and fall down. What's up from Sean from Newfoundland, Canada? I hope everyone is doing great. Great. Your footing may fail, but gravity never will. And gravity is one of those things that it will always win if you're not careful, for sure. Good evening. Love the GOAT 10 times 10x itself after buying it. Yes, I personally love the GOAT too. My favorites is the GOAT, is the pitch hoppers, cougar paws, and then obviously harnesses. Those are the ones that I love myself. What's up, Joshua? How are you doing? We got Dallas. There's my brother from another mother. Good day from Australia, mate. Again, if you guys got any questions, it can be pressure washing, it can be Christmas lights, it can be safety, it can be marketing. What is your questions tonight? I want to answer them. I want to help you guys grow your business. That is my goal, is to help you guys grow. I was a tree climber, arborist, spent 5 minutes and plan your climb. Yes, and that's a great point, right? Plan what are you going to do? Plan how are you going to do it? Plan what you're going to do if something goes wrong, right? Hey, Jason, please share make and style of tennis shoes for the roofs. So these are the feelers. I'm going to pull these up here so that way you can see the code on them, the memory foam Fila work shoes. Again, that's the product number down there, all of that stuff there. So that way you can see what those are. And then the other ones here are the Hey Dudes. These were the Hey Dudes that I was told that were supposed to be good. We're going to find out this weekend. And then the Cougar Paws, you can go to christmaslights.io/tools. And I have a lot of the GOAT and all of those things on there. Hey, everyone from Chicagoland, Aquaman Power Washing in the house. How are you doing, sir? How to use a harness without screwing to the roof, to this roof. So one of the things that you can do, and it depends, right? If you're in a neighborhood that has lots of big trees, stuff like that, you can actually use a rope and go over the house, all the way over the house, and go down to the big trees. And so that is one way that you can do a rope system. And so I don't know if I can find the one I did. I think was that 2015 or 16. I actually did that for a big job that I did because it was slick when we were doing this house that we were doing. And so that is how I was able to do it. And I know a lot of people can do it. But what I will tell you is if you don't know how to tie ropes, then I probably wouldn't recommend this to you. If you know how to tie ropes, then that is a different story. What I'll tell you is tying a lot does not work. If you don't know how to tie a rope, tie a lot. I've actually fell out of a tree that way. So when I was trying to learn how to do knots myself. And so that's how I learned how to do knots, because when I was 15 years old, we started doing some stuff for, shoot, what was it? For I was in Royal Rangers, and so that's how I can do it. So I did find that picture of the house that I about fell off of. Of it was slicker and snot. It was this house right here. So this house right here, we were doing this cedar roof, and that's not what I wanted. And so that cedar roof is got slick on me because I put the wrong chemical on it, and that's when I about fell off of that roof. Um, so I'm trying to find this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if I can find where I tied it off to the tree. Um, nope, that ain't it. This was a big old roof that we did. I'm gonna see if I can find it so where I can show you where I did it to the tree, so that way you can kind of see how I did it. I actually tied it off to the tree, and I tied it off to the vehicle when we were cleaning it, because this was a big cedar roof that we did, and it was slicker than snot. Um, it was super, super slick until we got it going up there. Let's see if I can find. I don't think I have it, but I can show you this picture here. And so this was the roof that we did, and so it was a cedar roof. It was slick as snot. You cannot climb this roof at all to save your life without a rope, because if you didn't have the rope, it was slick. So let's see if I can find that picture where I tied it over. So I actually tied it on one of these trees here. I tied it on this tree here, and then we ran the rope over, and that is how we kept from falling off of that house. This was a big pool right here. This was a giant house. It was a 10,000 square foot roof, is what it was. It was giant, huge, huge. And then the truck, I used the front bumper. I actually used the back hitch is what I used to hook into my to hook in there. So you can see I actually had to use the ladder to get up there originally. I had to use this ladder with a hook right here. And so I used this hook to get up there to be able to get the rope over. I couldn't even get up on this roof when we first started cleaning it without this ladder, because it was that slick. So that's what we had to end up using, was that to be able to get up there. But this was a big house. This was Jenna when she was a little girl. This was in 2015, so almost 10 years ago. So definitely you got to make sure that you're staying safe. Um, have you personally ever had a sketchy situation on a roof? Any falls? Yes, I've had two. So the one was on that one roof, that other cedar roof that I had. Like I said, I put some sodium hydroxide down on it, and as soon as I stepped on that sucker, it was slicker than snot, and I went feet up in the air, holding on to the pressure washing wand as I'm falling down. Luckily, I got stopped before the end. And then there was another job that I had the wrong boots on, and I got up on that roof and I slipped and fell on it because I couldn't hold on to it. And those were the two times that were sketchy that I remember. That big roof here that I'm just now showing, it was sketchy, but I had a harness on, so I felt good. I had a harness. We had the rope go all the way over the house, and then I was able to tie into that and move up and down, and that's how I was able to keep myself safe on that roof. So I felt safe on that roof. That roof, when I first got on it, because I tried to climb up it, I couldn't get up it, and that's why I had to use that ladder with the old thing on it. On cougar poles, I hear you should buy one size smaller. Have you had that experience? I believe these are these might be 14s. I don't know what size these are. These are 14s, I think, because that's all they come in. I don't know if they come in 15s, but those are a size smaller. I like them tight. You know, they even have the little thing on here to make sure that it's tight on your foot. So it's, you know, you really clamp that sucker down on your foot, because the last thing you want to do is be moving in there, Lanny. So, yes. Do you rinse after your roof washes? Question of the ages. If it is I do not. If it has gutters, if it has gutters, I don't rinse. I just spray and leave it. And if it's metal, then you do have to rinse it. But if it's just a shingle roof, then I don't do it if it has gutters. Learn to tie a bowline. Doesn't matter how much you pull on it, it can use it. My favorite knot, I don't like a bowline. It's too much of likely of coming out. My favorite is the figure eight on a bite. The figure eight on the bite is probably the most bomb proof knot that's out there. Any rescue, any of that kind of stuff, you're going to use the figure eight on a bite, or it can be a retrace figure eight, whatever you want to call it. That's the one that I like. And actually, like when I do that big tree, I actually wrapped it around like 3 or 4 times. Actually, I think I wrapped it around 4 times and then just did it. So then that way my knot wasn't doing anything. The wraps around the tree was my knot. So that way when I went to only thing the knot was doing on the rope at that time was just holding it just in case something went wrong. But when you wrap it around that tree, actually I think it's 5 times. It's like the likelihood of that coming undone is very it won't even tighten to get more done. So then you wrap it 5 times and then put that knot on there just to keep it from coming undone. Good tip: tie the rope to the tree or the vehicle. If you are going to do it to the vehicle, make sure you put a big note on the steering wheel and you take the keys out of the car, because that can be a problem if someone's like, I need to move your vehicle, and you're up there on a rope. And so that is a super good tip, is to make sure that the vehicle is got a big note on it and the keys are not in the vehicle or anywhere access to that vehicle. Also, when you're tying off of vehicles, you kind of got to be careful, because you need to use a rope protector on a lot of things, because there's a lot of sharp edges that can cut that rope. So when you're doing it on a vehicle, it's a little bit more trickier than not doing it on a vehicle. And actually, I think when I did it on this one, I went through the tire. I put a rope protector on, went through the tire, so then that way I knew it would have to pull the tire off. So that is something that you got to definitely be careful on. I agree on that. I've done confined space rescue, so we know lots of different knots. I'm not, like I said, I used to do rappelling when I was younger, and then I became a fireman, and so I knew my ropes very well. I've done high angle rescues, all different kinds of things, and so it's one of those, if you don't know how to tie a knot, tie a lot. That's a bunch of crap, because it will fail on you at that point. Round and round plus 2 half hitches, it will never come undone. Yep. So, um, but I think it's one of those things that you definitely, whether it's safety, whether whatever it is, you got to be careful out there. So one thing I did last night is DJ and I, we were going to try to put up some signs and do a business for doing permanent lighting. And so last night we went up and put 66 signs up. It was in a pretty big area. I'll hit on this because this is marketing. If anybody, this works for pressure washing and Christmas lights. I haven't even shared the app here, but I'm going to pull it up here of how it works and what you can do with it. And so um, it is definitely something that, well, let me pull it up here if I can. Um, this is something that we use, so that way when you're out in the field, this is a way that um, use this here to see what you're doing. So last night we went out and put up signs. We put up 66 signs, and so this is called Simple Crew, is what it's called. And basically, you can take pictures of every sign that you place. So you will put the pictures there, and it will GPS all of the pictures of everywhere where that sign is. So everywhere over here where my head is here, let me move this over a little bit. You can see that I placed a sign at all of these different locations. So then I can zoom in on here and I can start looking at my map, and it will show me the sign that I put up there. So I can zoom back out and I can go see this sign right here. And you can see that I put it by, where did I put this one at? The Village. Right here is where I put it at. Now, this was by the Menards. So you can see here everywhere where I put the signs. And so I put them at the intersection here by here. And so you can see DJ over there putting them. And so this way, if you're paying somebody to put up signs, this is a way to make sure that they are putting them up. And so you can see all of the different signs that I put up here, which works awesome. Oh, I can even do this here. Oh, that's even cooler. So you can actually see where they put them at, even on the guide there. So it is definitely something that I would recommend that you do. It is pretty awesome that how, you can see where we did it. Now, I know we did kind of a big area. I was hoping to get 100 out last night, but we didn't get 100 signs out. And I know I did a big area. And so I was trying to hit the areas that I know of, and I know where I've been in business long enough. I kind of know that this is a hot area, this is a hot area, this is some hot over here too, but we were focusing on here. And so we left last night at 7:30 and got done at 12 o'clock last night, and we got 66 signs out. So you can see two people putting them out. But this is a pretty cool app that you can scroll in, see where your people are putting them up. So if you're paying someone to put up signs, all you do is open the app on your phone, and you just take a picture, and it will put the location on it. And that way, and then it will put a dot right here where that sign is. So we can see we put two signs right here. We put one right here, and then we put one going the other way. And then and a lot of times people always ask, where do you put signs at, right? And so this one is a very busy intersection right here. This one here is by a school. So that's why we put that one there. So these are different places that you're putting signs out. And again, this is how you're able to do it. You're able to see where they put them out. It will tell you when you click on it, it'll tell you the time, it gives you the address, it gives you the photo, it gives you all kinds of where that sign is. So this is something that if you're putting out signs or you're paying someone to put out signs, it is definitely something that I would highly recommend. It is called, let's see if it'll come up here. It is called, I just did Simple Crew, and it is a paid app. You get 14 days free. You don't have to pay nothing for it. And even if you do pay, it's not that crazy of pricing. You can get it for $20 a month, and so you get 2 users. And so it is one of those that, like, you can sign 2 or 3 people in under one user. And so you can actually, if you have 2 or 3 different crews, you can make them where they go and see all of the different ways of it. But it's called Simple Crew. I just thought I'd show it up here to show you guys an awesome tool that works great for putting out signs. If you have people putting out signs, this is a way that you know that they put out the signs, and not, I put them signs out, and then you're like, I never seen one of those signs. So this is something that I highly recommend to do. It is definitely something that I'm doing the 2-week trial right now for free. I used it last night. Again, we put out 66 signs. It gives you the time, the date, the location, and it's pretty dead nuts right where it is. So that's what I like about it. So again, I know that this is kind of talking about ladders and safety, but I also want to hit on some marketing because we love marketing, and I know yard sign time is coming, and so that's why I want to hit on that. So hopefully that can help somebody out. First live with you. I'm shocked. Bought your class last week and don't even know this yet. Haha, but I'm about to join your membership or mentorship. Awesome. What did you use for sign location again? It's called Simple Crew is what it's called. And I hit on that. So again, I just wanted to show you how that worked. I know in the past I've used Company Cam, but Company Cam takes forever to find that location. This here, you clicked on it, it'll say loading. I mean, it's pretty quick on. It's a pretty easy app to use. Um, so you just you get into the app. You got the two different ones. So you hit. I'm gonna hit permanent Christmas lights because that one don't have any. And then down here at the bottom, it's got a little camera button. It's going to open up the camera button, which looks like camera. Take a picture. And then it says looking for address, looking for address. And then once it gets done, it will tell you the address. So that's how fast it will pulls it up, gets you the address, and moves on. And it's pretty accurate because we actually did it here, and you can kind of see where it is. So it's definitely a pretty cool app that you can use that works to make sure that, you know, if you're paying $2 a sign to get put out, the last thing you want to do is pay for 100-yard signs and they never got put out. And so this is a way to make sure that you know where those signs are when you put them out. So just something that you can do. What was that about? Yard signs again? Yes, that was about yard signs is what that was about. Again, like I said, DJ and I, we went out and put out 66. You know, when you're doing yard signs, if you got two people do it, it's actually a little bit safer because you're not trying to jump out into traffic. Again, when you're putting out yard signs, make sure you're doing it and being safe. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't try to run out faster than a car. Do you have a set schedule of every time you go live? I do have a set schedule every time I go live. And if you want to know when I go live, you can text the word. Which one is this one here? You can text the word LITE, L-I-T-E, to 855-619-5483. This is my Christmas light ones, my pressure washing. So every Sunday night is pressure washing or something that'll do both. And then every Wednesday night is Christmas lights or something that'll do both. So like right now we're getting closer to Christmas light season. So that's why I did roof safety, because roof safety works for Christmas lights and it works for pressure washing. You got to stay safe. Yard signs works for pressure washing and it works for Christmas lights. So so you gotta, that's why I did that. So if you text LITE, LITE, 855-619-5483, I'll send a text out right before. But every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time and every Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time, I go live. Hey Jason, how much would you pay someone for a night or day to put out signs? So I would pay anywhere from I would pay $2 to $3 per sign. We were looking it up last night. So if they did 66 signs, two of them, you know, if you'd pay $2 a piece, that would be, let's just say 70. So that would be $140 for 4 hours. So they're making pretty good money. They got to pay gas. You know, they can, sometimes you can get 100 signs out if you're doing a lot of the four corners. I personally don't like to do four corners because that will piss a lot of people off and then they'll come and take all your signs down. So I like to be like sporadic, like this intersection, miss this intersection, do the next intersection. Like I like to be more sporadic versus hitting every intersection. It's just my personal opinion, but it is what it is. Simple crew. Everyone stay focused. Don't quit when things get slow. Work on your business with the slow times. The slow times are the best time to make sure that you are getting your post and make sure that you're doing your blog post and making sure that you are doing the things that you need to do. Maybe you need to go knock on doors. Maybe you need to go do those, knock on that commercial door. Because a lot of times we get busy and then that's when we don't get that $1,000, $5,000 commercial job because we're not knocking on those doors that we need to. Stay safe, everyone. Sweet. I use my Guyman pole for putting signs where they won't be taken down easy. The Monday call is just for the group, lights only. The Monday night call is for the group. It is for lights, and it's the same for pressure washing and Christmas lights. When we get closer to pressure Christmas lights, it kind of shifts to Christmas lights. And then the rest of the year is pressure washing. But if you come into the Monday night group and you ask questions for pressure washing in the Christmas light season, you're going to get it answered. And there'll be a lot of other people there to answer it for you too. Have you seen the line launcher for sending a rope over the roof? I have. It looks pretty cool. Um, I think it is. I need to look at buying one and using it and showing it how to do that. Maybe that's something I'll do, is get some videos on how to use that for them. Quick rundown. What do you get your monthly subscription? So in the monthly subscription, you get I have probably a couple hundred videos in there, how to do marketing, how to do all the job. And then every month, the biggest key point of it is the weekly Zoom call. Every week, every Monday night at 9 o'clock, we do a 2-hour Zoom call. It was only supposed to be a 30-minute Zoom call. It was supposed to be 15 minutes of learning and 15 minutes of questions. Well, the 15 minutes of learning is still 15 minutes of learning, but the hour and 45 minutes of talking about everything else, growing, you get to hear people's success stories. You get to hear people like Dan in there. You get to hear people how Daniel's grown. You get to hear different people how they've grown. And so that is a pretty cool point of that. If you want a website, I got the template websites for that. So those are all what comes with it. Still wash season had an $8,000 week. That's awesome, bro. That's a high five right there. I've gone through 20 to 30 hours of videos, and it is killer. And usually all of my Monday Night Lives are on there too, so there's lots of those. Explain a little bit more how not to put signs on 4 corner, please. Well, one reason why I don't like to put it on all 4 is you'll piss people off, and when you piss people off, it doesn't usually do you good, because then they're going to have someone go out and take down all the signs. So that's why I personally don't like doing all 4 corners. It's my own opinion, but I don't like doing it. I will put one on both sides. That's the main traffic line, because usually when you're coming into it, that's not the main traffic line. So I will do the main traffic line, but I don't like to do it on all 4 corners, because when you piss someone off and you have every stop sign, the city will get a call and they will be taking them down fast. So when you sporadically put them out, that's a great way to do it. Another good thing to do is when you're in the go to the high end areas of like Starbucks. You know, people love Starbucks when they're sitting in line. Maybe put one that's right there. So those are the places that you can put those. Any full illustration installation videos? Yes. Off topic, but before you're sold out, did you wash hood vents for restaurants? Hell no. If so, were there any special search requirements? Yes. I've actually taken the class. I didn't get certified, but there is a cert that you need to get, so that way you don't screw stuff up. And that is the nastiest thing that you will do. And I would say get training on it. The best place to probably get training for this is powerwash.com. Michael Hindeliner's company, he's got probably one of the best classes out there. Michael Torrizzo or something like that does it, and he's been doing it for years. Like, he's just retired from doing it for like 20 years, 20, 30 years. And he's probably one of the best in the business to teach it. Jason, what was the program that you used to track signs? Maybe I missed it. Simple Crew. Simple Crew is what it's called. So with that, I hope you all, if you need anything, if you need any Christmas lights, you can go to christmaslights.io. If you want to learn how to do Christmas lights, christmaslights.io. If you just want Christmas lights, take the S off of it and just put in christmaslight.io. We'll take you to there. I have some in-person trainings coming up, and one is in Indianapolis next weekend. It'll be a great class. I think we'll have about 10 students, and then one in Charlotte. So if you want to go meet Dan and Lindy, Lindy likes to talk a lot. I guarantee you'll probably learn more from her from talking than I will for 3 days talking. They're an awesome couple. They've done it part-time, and they just went full-time. They're going to probably hit $1 million this year, so you can learn a lot off of them. And it'll be a great class down there too in Charlotte, North Carolina. But again, if you want to go check that out, go check out christmaslights.io. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll see you all later.